TAMCC Community College says COVID-19 protocols will be adopted when classes resume next week. We'll have details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Thursday, September 10th, 2020, I'm Delroy Lozan. The TAMCC Community College has announced that classes will resume from Tuesday, September 15th for the second-year students. The island's lone tertiary institution, like all other institutions, was closed in March as the government implemented measures to deal with the impact of COVID-19. During a press conference on Thursday, Registrar of the College, Marva Bowen-Neptune, said while Year 2 students will resume classes next week, Year 1 students will commence in the first week of October. The late start is as a result of a delay in CXC results.
On the 22nd of September, unofficially, results, we would have CXC results. And so from the week of the 22nd, that would be from the 23rd, the Year 1 students, well, they're not prospective students who apply to the college, they would, we would have them registered, pay for the year. The format for that we would inform you shortly, because we cannot do it like we did it before. So we would do it on a phase basis. So within that week, you would be coming to the college to do your advising, and we would let you know how we would do your registration, so that we would we want to keep the COVID protocols, we want to keep that in check.
Dean of the School of Applied Arts and Technology, Malicia John, says the college will adopt health protocols as approved by the Ministry of Health. Screening will be conducted at each campus daily.
There will be a screening process at every campus. Temperature checks will be conducted on everyone at the entrance to every campus. Persons exhibiting elevated temperatures will not be allowed to enter the campus, but rather will be directed to seek medical attention. Anyone presenting flu-like or COVID symptoms prior to being in the college will remain at home. The important thing here is to communicate. There needs to be open communication to ensure that everyone remains in the information circle. If anyone, however, begins presenting the above symptoms after arriving at the Tantin campus, that person will immediately call the campus nurse and initiate a process of moving from post to a specially assigned COVID sick bay for assessment by the nurse.
TAMCC will hold its annual graduation ceremony on October 29th. Room stock in Carriacou will increase next year with the addition of the Casada Bay Resort. In Phase 1, 2 3-bedroom units and a restaurant and bar will be constructed. Project manager Sterling Hennessy says while COVID-19 has negatively impacted the construction sector, plans are well in place for the completion of Phase 1, guided by government's set protocols.
We're beginning to start 30 two-bedroom units. They'll just be 2 bedrooms with showers, no kitchens, chalet type. We originally had been hoping by Christmas, but with COVID and delay in equipment and so on, I think we could add another 6 months to that, with shipping in materials and such. But other than that, our first stage here, we're getting close to having first stage go, and then we'll continue on with the rooms. Well, the first stage would be the restaurant and bar, as you can see behind. The bar is almost completed, again waiting for equipment. And that was our goal, to get this part completed first and then continue on with the rooms.
Hennessy says Casada Bay Resort Limited will target both long-term and short-term visitors locally, regionally, and internationally, offering top quality and upscale accommodation.
The houses, we have people looking for long-term from other countries. With the chalets and so on, I believe that our market hopefully is going to come from Grenada and surrounding areas, maybe some of the other Caribbean islands. Like I say, our chef house is coming to completion, along with 2 houses below are almost complete. And we get the equipment in for the kitchen and bar, which we're trying to work on now. All those companies have been shut down that build that equipment. So it's just a matter of when that equipment can come. We're ready for it.
The resort will also target the cruising and yachting sector with the incorporation of a mooring field for live aboard yachts and cruisers, a proposal which has been presented to the Government of Grenada and awaits approval, Hennessy noted. The second phase of the project entails the construction of 15 two-bedroom units, which will come on stream in mid-2021 and will generate additional employment in Carriacou. This is the National Report. The news will continue in just a moment.
Protect yourself and our community from COVID-19. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. If soap and water are not available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with at least 70% alcohol. Use a tissue when blowing your nose, sneezing, or coughing. Immediately discard the tissue properly and wash or sanitize your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Let's do our part to ensure that each and every Grenadian remains healthy. To stay up to date, visit the Government of Grenada's webpage or the Ministry of Health's Facebook page. For more information, contact the Ministry of Health's hotline by calling 53-VIRUS. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by the Ministry of Health.
Welcome back. Grenada joined the rest of the world to recognize Suicide Prevention Day on Thursday. Suicide is the act of intentionally causing one's death and can occur as a result of mental illness, stress, depression, among other causes. Grenada has recorded 6 suicides so far for 2020. Police Constable Samson Sylvester said the statistic is not a true reflection of what is really happening, since many attempts are not reported to the police force.
So far for 2020, we have a total of 6 suicides in the state of Grenada, recorded suicides in the state of Grenada, 6. And attempted suicide, we have a total of 4. And those are only the recorded stats. We have not taken into consideration stats that has not been reported to the police. And if you look at the latency, that is actions being done and not being reported, you would tend to realize that the numbers would be much higher. But the suicide-related deaths, we have, as I said, 6, and we only have 4 reported or recorded attempted suicide so far for the year.
In a message to observe the day, Minister for Social Development Honorable Delma Thomas highlighted some of the intervention programs in her ministry. She encouraged Grenadians to avoid discriminating against people with mental illness.
The topic of suicide and suicide prevention deserve particular attention, and our ministry has taken some bold steps to address this plaguing social problem. We have employed a cadre of professional counselors and clinical psychologists who can offer both therapeutic and crisis intervention, as well as psychoeducation services to persons contemplating suicide or suffering from mental illness. Suicide is usually associated with some form of mental illness or psychotic break. I would like to use this opportunity to appeal, as I have done in the past. Let us work towards ending the discrimination and stigma surrounding mental illness. There is a very fine line that separates the sane from the insane.
The day was observed under the theme Working Together to Prevent Suicide. And finally in the news, one rural farmer is commending the Ministry of Agriculture for its role in assisting in the procurement of security devices, which have been beneficial to the operations on his farms. Bertrand John, who has been farming for more than 30 years, says the device has helped to provide a breakthrough in a predial larceny case. John, who cultivates over 30 acres of land, has lost more than $200,000 in crops over the past few years as a result of predial larceny. Though this act can become a disincentive to the investments made by farmers, he is optimistic that the devices can help lessen the occurrence of the crime.
It's really difficult for farmers to have to be in the field 24/7. Not working, but basically monitoring to see if you have any thieves or those kind of thing. This is a waste of time. So I'm advising farmers that they should be using science and technology to monitor the field, rather than they themselves being present. Because by implementing security devices on our farm, we are able to watch people get in and get out of our farm. So this have helped in a marked way, in a big way.
The procurement of security devices for farmers forms part of the ministry's efforts to curb theft in the agricultural sector. The ministry has also partnered with the Predial Larceny Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force to develop the Predial Larceny 24-hour hotline that serves local farmers. The ministry is moving to classify soursop as a specially protected produce as it aims to create a licensing regime under the Predial Larceny Act and establish a predial larceny management unit that can mitigate the adverse effects of predial larceny on food security generally and apply stiffer penalties. The general public is reminded that predial larceny is a crime and is advised to call the nearest police station or hotline 300 or 435-0300 to report any instances of the offense. That story concludes the National Report for Thursday, 10th September 2020. Recapping the headline, TAMCC Community College says COVID-19 protocols will be adopted when classes resume next week. That's all from us here at the newsroom. On behalf of all who made this newscast possible, management and staff of the Government Information Service, I'm Delroy Louison, thanking you for joining us. We'll see you next time.